Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the very first live Toys of the Jedi live stream. So this is the absolute first one. Wish me luck. Thank you very much for coming on tonight. Tonight I am going to be joined by various people. I say people, one person tonight. And let's just take a look here. So we have a few people coming in at the moment. Let's see. Yep, a couple of people in there. Fantastic. Right, so yes, we are going to be discussing all of the news and reveals from today's Fan First Friday event. So talking about the HasLab Razor Crest as well, and what that actually means for the future of both the Black Series and the Vintage Collection. We're also going to be having a talk about the Lego Holiday Special, quick chat about that. And finally, we're going to finish off with talking about the Mandalorian Chapter 11. So there will definitely be spoilers at that part of the show, but we will give you again a heads up when we get there if you haven't seen it. So tonight, I am fortunate enough to be joined by a very good friend of mine. He's somebody I met in 2015 for the Force Friday event in Albury. And he's also an experienced print media designer and founder of his own company. But most importantly, he's a contributor to the go-to website for Star Wars fans. It's Paul Naylor from Fantha Tracks. Let's bring him in. There we go. Hello, Paul.
Hi, Chris. You okay, mate?
I'm very good, thank you. You? How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Busy week, but I'm chilling out now, so all good.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's one of those that the way that the weeks are going these days, we're all really looking forward to Fridays at the moment. So I don't know about you, but I certainly am. Really can't wait for them. Yeah,
it's starting to feel a bit more normal in that respect, I suppose. At one time, when we had the first lockdown, it was a bit difficult to remember what day of the week it was. So now it's back to normal, so it's good.
Well, yes, exactly. It threw us a bit when we were allowed out and what have you to play.
Yeah.
But yeah. I can see obviously a few people joining in the chat as well. Good evening, 540. Hello, who have we got here? Boba Fettuccini. Good name. I like that one. Welcome along. Mooncat Drums. Yeah, dangerous, dodgy character there. But, thank you for joining us. We've got James Woodcock as well, and the Delvian Seek has joined us as well. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us this evening. We're going to dive straight into things and go over, like I say, some of the Fan First Friday reveals. Did you catch the live stream earlier on?
I was a little bit behind because I was on a Zoom call, as most of us are these days. But I have seen the Star Wars element of it. I was about 15 minutes behind, so I watched it a little bit of a delay. But yeah, some really good stuff coming up there.
Yeah, some interesting bits and pieces. We're actually going to be rather cheeky and borrow Paul's website. Well, you know what I mean. For some of the reveals. So I'm going to jump on over to Fantha Tracks now, if you'll bear with me. Let's have a look at that one there. So if we take a look at this one here, they've actually got all of the reveals, starting off with a very nice Ventress at the top. Now, the actual live stream itself, I'll just grab my notes. I know Hasbro did go over some of the bits and pieces that a bit of a cover up from previous weeks. So they talked about the Razor Crest and obviously how that had done. Ended up finishing on 28,901 backers,
which is incredible, absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Phenomenal numbers on that. Phenomenal numbers. Interestingly, they highlighted that the barge that finished on 8,808 backers, so quite a significant jump since the first HasLab project. So amazing jump on that. So now it's just a short little 12-month wait till those actually start shipping and we start receiving them. Can't wait. Anyway, we'll cover the Razor Crest a little bit more in a little bit later. They then went on to talk about the original 96 from Kenner, highlighting that they'd done the Power Droid last year. Obviously, that feeds into that. But they were looking to do about 2 more releases at least 2 more releases per year that fit into that original 96 to try and fill out that line of them.
Yeah.
And of course, one of the ones that they showed today was the wonderful Zutton. Now, I don't know about you, Paul. This is a figure that was released a little while ago in the Vintage Collection 3-packs. I say a little while ago, almost 10 years ago now.
Yeah, vaguely remember that. Yeah.
So it's actually a really good figure, very accurate to the character that it's based on. Comes on this lovely card back. What are your thoughts about this one? I know you're primarily a Black Series collector, so you've kind of come on this evening to be the foil to my Vintage Collection loving self.
Yeah. No, I mean the Vintage Collection. Had I have got into that first, probably would have carried on with that. But yeah, once I started getting into Black Series, it was a bit of a no-brainer for me. Having said that, I did recently buy the Mandalorian build-up pack, which I think is an absolutely superb piece.
Yes.
And this to me, please let this be going towards some sort of cantina playset or something. Some diorama. That would be amazing. That would
we can but hope.
Yeah.
We can but hope.
As a standalone figure, it's fantastic, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a great figure. I like the card back. I know there's going to be quite a bit of controversy around this figure as well, though, because obviously the original Snaggletooth, as it were, that we got back in 78 thereabouts.
Yep, 78, 79, yeah.
That was based on the holiday special.
The card back and figure, yeah.
Card back and figure. Now, the geek in me has gone and done a little bit of research on the old Wikipedia. So yeah, the confusing thing is there's 3 different, well, at least 3 different Snaggletooth, Snivian type aliens in and around the cantina. Yeah. There's this one, Zutton, who is sort of outside the cantina. There is Takil, who you see inside the cantina and sort of turning round to have a look at what's going on behind him when the scuffle breaks out with Ben and Ponda Baba and what have you.
Yeah.
And then there's the third one, which is Zutmore, which is who the original Kenner figure was based on. He's got the nice black stripes down his red jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Now, I did like that actually in the live stream. I know it was Eric said that they are aware that there are 3 versions, so they'll probably need to do another 2 releases to make sure they cover off all versions of this character, as it were. So yeah, I love this one. I'll be picking it up. I've already got the loose one from back in that 3-pack from earlier. But what they were saying does give me a lot of hope for the future, that they will actually release the rest of the Snivians, as it were, and we'll finally get that proper update to that Star Wars card back.
That great indie 3-piece from the West Midlands. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, but no, I mean, hopefully this does start some sort of line of Mos Eisley creatures and characters. It'd be lovely to see some of the figures that we had back in the day brought out again. I mean, I know we've had several Greedos over the years and Ponda Barbers and Mom and Adon, but to see them again, you know, with the improved techniques that they've got these days for the VC line, but also it would be lovely to see them in the Black Series as well.
Absolutely. And again, just with the Vintage Collection stuff, I know they've got to do an update to Hammerhead to put him onto a vintage card back, and so they've got to update the articulation for that one. There's plenty of scope in that. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Great shout. I hope that a Cantina playset is on the way.
Good point there. Yeah, good point made there by Tim Bosk's Bounty about the colour in the knee joint. He's right there. Got a bit of a stripe running through that knee joint.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah. Oh, that's a frustrating one.
Good spot, Tim.
Yeah. Maybe something to shout to Patrick that needs picking up on. if it ideally before it goes into production. Maybe it's too late already, but we'll see on that one.
He might have been playing out on the streets of Mos Eisley. He's probably cut himself. It's a little band-aid on his knee. Bless him.
That's the one on there. Right, so that was the only vintage collection reveal today. Some of those images leaked online a little bit earlier, but obviously seeing them in nicer high definition does make all the difference. And I know we'll be putting those on our Facebook page as well if you want to see some of the nice high definition images once they're made available. So we move on to your horrible lot, the Black Series. So we're going to start with this one. This is Asajj Ventress. Now, what they also said during the live stream was that they had a lot of focus on the Clone Wars last year with the new Ahsoka and the the Ahsoka Loyalist Trooper. That was what it was called, wasn't it? Yeah. And there was also a Death Watch Mandalorian and a Maul DeLorean. Is that a wave you picked up?
Yep, I've got those. In fact, they arrived about just over a week ago. Yeah. And funnily enough, the ones that were revealed tonight, I've pre-ordered those as well. Which is strange because at the time when the Clone Wars first came out, I wasn't really into it. I really wasn't that into it. Yeah, but it's something that I've sort of learned to enjoy later down the line. I particularly enjoyed the final season. So the story arcs that were contained in that, certainly the first story arc and the third story arc were brilliant. Second one, not so good, but still enjoyable enough. But the Bad Batch, to see a couple of those figures on pre-order today was amazing. And the way that they've gone with them, where they've obviously used the animated series as the guide for them, but then improved on the look of them with the more Tamura Morrison sort of vibe to the face. It's fantastic. So crosshair.
We'll get to those. We'll get to those. Wait. Don't.
Sorry, I'm just excited about the Black Series. Sorry.
Absolutely. Can't take him anywhere. Anyway, we're going to look through some of the rest of these Ventress pictures.
Anyway,
so
Ventress, absolutely fantastic.
So, it looks like a cracking figure. Again, they were saying they'd done a lot of work on the detailing of the soft goods that are on there. Got a nice shimmer to it. You can see it a little bit in this image that's on screen at the moment. I think they also said that the lightsaber blades were removable so that you can plug those onto her belt.
Yeah.
Really give it plenty of different variety to the way you can pose her. And they also said they'd paid. Oh, go on.
Yeah. From the shots that they've shown as well, the soft goods look as though they lie quite well, because sometimes the soft goods don't always work. But on this figure, this seemed to work really well, whether she stood still as she is in that shot there, or in a more dynamic pose. So it looks really good.
Yeah, I know they said they've also paid special attention to the tattoos on her head.
Yeah.
So again, looking forward to seeing that detail. I'm not 100% convinced that face. We'll have to see that in person.
It's difficult to say on the screen sometimes, isn't it? But
and there's always the translation between animated and realistic style when you come to the Black Series as well. So we'll have to see what happens with that.
Really for Ventress, is there? It's not like the Bad Batch where you've got some point of reference. For her, you've got nothing really. So
absolutely. And then just a couple of shots of the box for this one as well. How are you finding the new style of box?
I quite like them, actually. They do sort of like you can sort of bookend them, can't you? On a slant. I think they're quite interesting. But what it does is it helps certain people, if they only want to collect a particular film or TV series worth of figures, then it sort of helped them out to a certain extent. For completists like my dear friend Martin Keeler, who I see has joined us, hello Fluff, he'll be dipping out of all of these different territories. So but it is nice to see the artwork on the side of these, which is absolutely stunning. I had a collection of Marvel hardback books a while back, where if you lined them all up from one to however many it went up to in the end, created a montage picture, and it's very much that idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah, like you say, I think they make for really nice little subsets of figures. And again, if you stack, for me, if you're stacking them all one after the other, it presents a much more interesting look as opposed to red, which we had with the previous season. So I think it just gives that little bit of a break up to what you're putting on your shelf, which I like. So that's good to see there. So we're going to jump on to the next character. So this is where you were saying about, this one's Hunter, isn't it? This character.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So this is where you were saying about getting the detail in the face from Tamora Morrison, but still keeping it close to the animated style.
That's it. So they've got the tattoo on the face. I mean, it looks excellent with the helmet on or off, and the greys, the different muted greys that are on the armor, really good. And when they brought in the other figure as well, and Patrick had them side by side, or it might have been the designer guy, and they were looking at them, and you could see that they really paired them up well. Sometimes if you've got a number of figures that have supposedly got the same outfits, certainly in the past when we've had different X-Wing fighters, X-Wing fighter pilots, where you had like 15 different sort of hues of orange, it doesn't always look quite right. So these guys, because they are going to sort of gel really well together. Hello, Claire Henry.
God, you got the entire Fantha crew. It's just as well I'm saying nice things about them, isn't it? Right. So yeah, one of the other things again about this figure, they highlighted that you can see on this image just around here that actually the blade, he's got a knife that tucks into a little pocket on his sleeve. They said that's the first time they've done that. So nice little detail, attention to detail. Because I know with Cara Dune previously, they've had like a knife in her boot, but you haven't been able to remove it. So
yeah, they were making a big thing the other day with the Jawa having the knife as well, weren't they? So So knives, the knives are in rather than knives are out. Brian Johnson.
No, moving swiftly on.
Moving swiftly on.
Right. So let's have a quick look at the final reveal from the live stream. Now this was Crosshair, wasn't it? The sniper of the Bad Batch. The main point of interest with this one is his rifle that breaks apart into separate pieces, and you can stash it on his back in the backpack. Again, just like in the show. They showed it in images on the live stream, but I don't think I've seen any of the actual. Sorry, they showed it in person because you had Eric dismantling it, but I don't think they showed any actual images of it in the show, in the live stream. But yeah, that's in there. And again, it's good to see that they're doing a completely different head sculpt for this character, because obviously they because the Bad Batch were all slightly, they're still
you can tell but you can tell they're from the clones, but they are unique in their appearance as well. No, I'm dead chuffed I've ordered those, so great.
Well on board with them. Now the other bit, of course, is those are all going to be available for pre-order right now wherever you do your pre-ordering. There's links in the description to this video to the Amazon ones if you want to go there, if that's easiest for you. And they're going to be shipping in spring of next year, so something to look forward to after Christmas.
Yeah.
Right, so let's come back here. Let's there we go. So those were the Fan First Friday reveals. I did see some people getting a little bit concerned that was all there was, but bear in mind that Mando Monday's only a weekend away, and we're going to be getting some more reveals of all sorts of stuff then as well. So I'm not too worried that's all we got.
No, it's been quite fast and furious, lately, hasn't it, in terms of releasing? So I don't know how your wallet's coped, but there was a phase about 2 or 3 months back where there seemed to be something coming out every day, and really have to make some big choices on what to order and what not to. So if they want to calm it down a little bit, I'm happy with that.
No, I know for the Black Series, obviously, which is your bag, is the Rebels figures. And they re-released them all in one go, so you could get them all in one go. Fantastic.
Which is what I did, yeah.
But that's what, 120 quid's worth of stuff just in one go?
130, 140 quid or something. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, in one go.
I know.
So it's and that wasn't the only thing they released that weekend, was it? There was plenty of other stuff to go alongside it.
I don't think I had anything else. I was in a position. I'd not previously bought any of the Rebels characters, so for me to get them all in one fell swoop was an ideal opportunity. So I went for it. Had I already got 2 or 3 of them, it might have been a bit more of a difficult decision. It is nice to have something like that, like the Crew of the Ghost, all in one type of packaging.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if I'd have had sort of 3 red boxes and 4 in that series, then it might look a bit odd. But because
the OCD kicks in, and
yeah, well, much to your disappointment, I'm an inbox collector, aren't I? So
I know, mate. Oh, I keep telling you, it's much better like this. You take them out of the package.
Not looking.
Put them in.
I'm not looking. Put Lando down.
Oh dear. Well, anyway, that wasn't the only bits of information that came out of the live stream today. They said that they were also listening to some constructive feedback, which was, I think, a very polite way of saying that we've been moaning at them for various things. Some of it very justified, I've got to be honest. I know there was a lot of complaining about the Captain Rex that they're re-releasing in the Vintage Collection. That was originally from the Black Series Blue line with the TIE Fighter pilot helmet background. Quite a short figure compared to the other clones. The helmet wasn't removable. The card back they're putting him on, lovely, not a problem with that at all. But given that we just received those beautiful ARC Troopers in that 3-pack, it really is a case of, just look at what you could have done. Look at what you and they've taken that on board. It's too late, as I know Tim Boss Bounty has been saying on various Q&As that he's had. Do you think they'll pull that Rex like they did with Darth Revan earlier on? And but he said no, it's too late. He's already due to be shipped. He's already on the boat, which they confirmed as much. They can't pull him from the line, but they have promised that going forwards, if they release a Captain Rex, and I'm sure they will, he will be with a removable helmet. So that's a definite positive there. The other one, again, sticking with the Vintage Collection, sorry about this, Paul, was something that Nick from Only One Kenobi has been shouting about to anyone that will listen, is the Boba Fett on the Return of the Jedi card back. It was the alternate card art with the blue sky behind him.
Yes, yeah.
Lovely card back. But the images that they showed is that they'd zoomed in, so cropped the image. They'd also got the wrong colour behind the figure and on the name pill.
Yeah.
And they've listened to what's being said. They're replacing the colour with a proper yellow to match as it was.
Yeah, because they went like burnt orange, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, which isn't quite right.
No.
And they've also said that they're going to do the card back image. They're going to zoom it back out again so that it's the full image that's there. They've also said that there's actually a few of those that have actually already escaped, so it will be a running change.
Hey, variants.
Absolutely. And if you get hold of the first one, that's the rare one by the sound of it. So hang on to it, keep it mint, look after it.
I'm still waiting for my Yavin 4 Luke Skywalker to be worth something one day. So
one day.
One day.
But so that was everything from the Fan First Friday. Just where are we? Let's check my notes. Right. Okay. So yes, how are we doing in the chat? We've got 16 watches at the moment. I said to you at the start of this, if I get 10 people, I'll be ecstatic. So thank you everybody for joining in.
You told me if you got to 20, you'd give £20 to children in need. So, folks, if you can get some of your friends online, that'd be great.
Absolutely, yes, exactly. I want that variant too when it comes in. Hopefully, those fastest on the trigger are the ones that got those, because I know I was in dead early on that FET. So fingers crossed on that one. So yes, while we're at this bit, if you'd be so kind, if you're not already a subscriber, please do subscribe to the channel. Do give this video a like. All of that helps the channel grow, gives it visibility, means that we can do a lot more going forwards. And hopefully we're providing some entertainment for you in these interesting times, shall we say, at the moment. Right, so next on the list is the Razor Crest discussion. Now, Paul,
Yes.
did you back it?
I ummed, I ahed, and in the end, the ums won, and I didn't. Do I regret it? Not yet. Will I regret it when I see it in the flesh, so to speak? Probably. I certainly did when I saw the barge. Yeah, like I say, if it had been something from the Black Series, then I'd have been all over it. But because I am primarily a Black Series collector, then for me, it's not that much of a big deal to step away from that one.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, like we said, your focus is the Black Series. Yeah. That's your cup of tea.
Yeah.
But I can see, obviously, with that art build-up, vintage collection Mando creeping in there. It's
you're trying to turn me to the dark side, aren't you?
Too right. I'm trying to turn you away from the Black Series, away from the dark side, mate. We're the light.
Yeah. It's all from a different point of view.
Absolutely. But obviously, as we said earlier on, the Razor Crest, it got 2,000. No, not 2,000. That's a bit low. 28,901 backers, which is a massive total. Speaks volumes about what the size of the 3.75-inch collecting community is. And these are just the collectors that are aware of it and paying attention to what's going on online. Yeah. Never mind those that only shop in toy stores and don't, as bizarre as it sounds, don't have any presence online at all. Those collectors will have no idea that the Razor Crest even exists.
Yeah.
So it's a huge statement that there is a lot of demand for it, and we're really looking forward to seeing some of the other characters that interact with that ship, that iconic ship. Now, I just want to ask you, what do you think this means for the vintage collection going forward? I know what I hope it means, but as someone who's just that little bit detached from it, what do you realistically think it means?
Well, I mean, there was a time where it looked like Hasbro were going to totally end the 3 3/4-inch line altogether, and they brought the vintage collection back to sort of appease that element of the market. I think since its rebirth, if you like, I think it's stronger now in terms of following than it was back in the day. It's not the sort of thing that is now a casual sort of pop into the entertainer. Oh, look, there's a vintage collection figure, I'll have that. It's very much in the same ballpark as Black Series, where it's primarily a collector market. And so when we get to things like releases like today, and when we get to things like Mando Monday and stuff like that, where figures are released, people tend to pre-order them these days. I don't know about you. I can't think of the last time. I can remember the last time I bought a figure from a shop. But prior to that, it probably been a year or two. It's all online purchases now, which in a way is sad, because there is nothing like going into a shop and seeing something new on the peg and going, oh, yeah, I'll have that. Remember being a kid and walking into my local high street and seeing the second wave of Star Wars figures when Greedo, Walrus Man, Snaggletooth, R5-D4, etc. all came out, and there they were in the shop window. Back in 78, 79, there was no, there was no way of knowing that was going to happen. I just walked past the shop and thought, what? Of course, cried my eyes out till I got myself a Luke Skywalker X-Wing pilot, but that's another story. But but yeah, that actual feeling of seeing it out there in the wild, in the shop, hunting it down, you can't beat that. You can't.
No,
but
not at all.
I have to admit that's the way that I buy stuff these days, primarily online.
Yeah, I think most people have had to go that way, just because we haven't seen. I mean, certainly vintage collection fans haven't seen a current wave at retail since Toys R Us was around.
Exactly. Sorry, I digressed a bit there, didn't I? So you're asking about my thoughts on which way the vintage line's going to go now. I do think that with the support that's been there for the Razor Crest, which really, considering that ship has only been in our consciousness since the first season of The Mandalorian came out, and we only got it sort of, was it March this year in the UK?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, some of us had seen it a bit before that, but we won't talk about that. But yeah, so for something to be so emotive, so straight away, it's up there with the Millennium Falcon in terms of how fans have reacted to it. I think to get that amount of backing is phenomenal. So it's got to tell them that there is a market out there.
Yeah.
Whether it's on the high street is irrelevant. The fact is that they need to be churning out more stuff. But that makes it sound like not doing it quality. What I mean is they need to be putting out more figures, and I think whether you do it as a questionnaire to the fan community or what, but you need to find out what the fans would react to the most. Yeah. Mandalorian is a hot property at the moment. Everything else seems to pretty much, other than like the Clone Wars stuff that we've seen today, pretty much everything else is sort of like second tier now. It's, the Mandalorian's on a pedestal, and at the moment, so it should be. It's a mighty fine series. When we first heard that the Mandalorian was going to be on, on TV streaming service rather than, Lucasfilm had stepped away from the cinema for a while, it was a bit sort of like a bit defeatist, perhaps. With everything that's got on this year, and we won't dwell on that. It was a shrewd move. So whether they saw it in force, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think moving forward, I think there'll be more lines of figures. I think when you come to HasLab, I think that they're not gonna back away from the vintage collection, but I would like to see them bring something Black Series to the fold as well.
Well, I was going to sort of touch on that. It was like, for me, they've done 2 vintage collection Star Wars HasLabs in a row now. So I was assuming this one was going to be a Black Series, but I'm kind of thinking, well, they got to do the next one as Black Series. But you're saying that potentially they may not. I mean, I'm not going to complain, but
maybe they'll do 2 things. Why not? HasLabs. They've expanded.
Oh, crikey. I mean,
no, I think sometimes that there is, they'll put their sensible hats on and they'll say, well, we managed to just about get the sail barge over the line. This one has been a screaming success. Shall we stick with this line because this seems to be what people want? And that's probably what they'll do. There are, there's some nice Black Series stuff coming out anyway. There's the speeder bike from the Mandalorian, which looks absolutely superb. There was the recent Rebels on Endor pack with Luke, Han, Leia, and Papley. So they're starting to sort of like nudge the vehicles in, but obviously at that scale, we're never going to get a Millennium Falcon for the Black Series. I don't know where I'm putting it.
Would you go for maybe the Millennium Falcon cargo hold?
Yeah, maybe a diorama.
Cockpit, so you get a part of it rather than the entire thing.
Yeah.
Because again, I don't know if you saw on is it GTP Toys? They've done the Tantive 4 corridor.
Yeah. Which you can have LEDs in it, lights up. It's beautiful, isn't it?
120 quid though.
Yeah.
Which, all things considered, isn't the end of the world. The vintage collection Tantive set is 50 quid. 2 of those. Yeah. Is it probably about the same sort of length comparatively? So 100 quid, 120.
I must admit, you talk to me about swaying towards, VC rather than the Black Series. When that Tantive 4 diorama came out, and you could see that if you bought a couple of the sets or even 3 sets, you could make a really good corridors. That was almost a tipping point for me, I tell you. That looks amazing. The carbon freezing chamber, not so much.
You know what? I was pleasantly surprised with that. Yeah, it's one of those. I know there's been a lot of complaints about it. There's been a lot of complaints about the carbon freezing chamber, but I've got it in hand now, and it's actually a lot bigger than you realise when it's all laid out. Absolutely, it is frustrating that it's only half a playset. Absolutely, it should come with the claw. Absolutely, it should have had a little control panel that goes with it, and an Ugnaught pack in instead of a Stormtrooper or a Bespin Wing. All of those are very valid points.
Yeah.
But the playset itself is actually a good, fun playset, and I got it out with my my youngest child the other weekend, and we played with it, and she absolutely adored it. Don't get me wrong, there are flaws with it, but as a display piece, if you've got the space for it, it's lovely. It's great fun.
I haven't spoken to anybody that's actually unpacked one. Is it as flimsy as it looks?
It's because the stairs hold the top and the bottom half together with just gravity. They're not clipped in.
Yeah,
that's the flimsy part.
Yeah,
the actual legs that go into the top part and the bottom are all sturdy. They're well in. It's like if you lift it up and shake it about, they're not going to fall out.
Yeah,
but it's those steps that go from the top to the bottom. They just don't clip into place. And again, I understand why they don't, so that you can have it at whatever angle round the dais bit in the middle that you want.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like a mahogany coffee table that my mum and dad had in 1986. The legs, so it kind of put me off a bit.
No, it's not as bad as people have made out, is what I'd say on it. So yeah, it's out there certainly. Yeah. Just on that, obviously, again, Tim talking about the hallway. The fact that they had to make it says a lot. I don't know if Hasbro will take that on board and start potentially making dioramas for them. That could be an interesting one. I mean, what would the dream HasLab project be for a Black Series collector? Throw that one at you.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. That's a good one. I would like to see a wave of Cantina creatures, and maybe some form of Cantina diorama stroke playset, which could double up for the Mandalorian as well. Because we return to the same Cantina, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got double usability of that diorama. You've got the Mando fans can stick Mark Hamill's 88 in it. Sorry, EV99. And then an R5D4 trundling around. Then old school could have Han and Greedo having a shootout. So yeah. But I mean, whether they'd be able to do it, because the actual cantina room itself isn't huge. It isn't massive.
Once you do it in 6 inch, it starts getting quite big.
Yeah, but I mean, there's things that I mean, maybe a section of the Death Star would be nice as well.
Okay. So you're thinking that the way forward for Black Series is probably down the diorama route rather than the vehicle route.
Yeah. Vehicle-wise, I would love to see the Imperial Troop Transporter, the one that was that appeared in The Mandalorian in the last episode of season 1. That, when I had that as a kid, the Palatoy one was always a favourite. And back then, obviously, that was just I think that was the first thing they released. It was totally fictional, that hadn't been in the films.
Yeah.
I think it was, wasn't it?
I think so.
I remember having that for Christmas as a kid and thinking, what's this? But then, start pushing all the buttons on top and getting C-3PO going, 2D2, where are you? It's brilliant. You loved it,
yeah. Imagination kicks in and you go for it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's one for the VC line. So scale it up for the Black Series. That'd be great. Yeah.
I think you've got others on side as well with that with your suggestion of dioramas. Because absolutely the mad thing is they've tried to do vehicles for the Black Series. Some have done better than others. The biggest one being that TIE Fighter, and that got marked down to think I saw it for 45 quid.
Yeah, and I think the point Tim's making there is that HasLab, what they could do is release as a project, say 20 aliens rather than the set, rather than the playset or a diorama. So it might be the only way that you could actually buy all or the key aliens from the cantina.
Yeah,
which that might be a great way to go. Yeah.
Because in fairness, that's been one of my criticisms of the Black Series, is that you only get the main characters. You don't get the world building aspects that you do with the vintage collection. So yeah, no, that's a great shout. That's a great shout.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of scope there. I think like I say, the HasLab side of things has done well. Plenty of scope for the things going forward. And I think it also shows that just the Hasbro Star Wars line in general is in a very, very good position at the moment. Yeah. Very strong. Right. Let's just take a quick look in the comments. I'm just going to throw it out to those of you in the chat. Are there any of you there that think we've missed anything with what Black Series could potentially do for HasLab? What would you get for HasLab? What would you back if you're a Black Series collector that you'd want to see in the HasLab?
James Woodcock has said he'd love to see a ghost.
That one there. Let's have a quick look. James, I'd love to see a ghost, but I think it would be too many years out from the series. So yes, sections of the Millennium Falcon would be great. Yeah, that's a good shout. And again, obviously, we've already got some characters from the Millennium Falcon to populate that diorama, because that's one of the other bits, is wanting the actual characters to fill the scene. You need that in there. So yes, that's a good shout. The ghost, because you've got, again, the 7 main characters already there. Just throw it in there. But yes, that's a rather large one.
That Millennium Falcon cockpit idea. You brought that out again. You've got multi-usage there. You've got the characters from A New Hope as opposed to the characters from Empire Strikes Back. Then you've got Lando and Nien Nunb from Jedi. Then you can do the characters from Solo in the cockpit.
Yeah.
And then, of course, from the sequel trilogy, you can stick most of them in there, can't you? So, again, that's got plenty of usage as well.
514
1-to-1 scale from Boba Fett to Chewie. I'd love that.
I'd love a Luke's land speeder for the Black Series 540. Yeah, they have done a Black Series land speeder. I think. Have you got that one, Paul? Luke's land speeder.
No. There's 2 versions of that, isn't there? There's the Comic-Con exclusive. They've got a little bit more detail to it. It's essentially the same product. No, again, that's one of these ones that every now and then I have a look on Amazon and I'm an R about it.
Yeah,
I have got the TIE Fighter that you were talking about, which is huge and quite wobbly. It's a bit like a jelly.
Not what you want from a big item, really. So yeah, the 1-to-1 scale Death Star. Well, yeah. If you want to start that petition, mate, you go ahead. Get on there. Right, let's have a look here. That's that one. What we got? ATS. That's a good shout, especially with the Mando decals to change it up as well. Because again, no, we haven't had an AT-ST driver, have we, in that scale?
No, not that I'm aware of. Not likely to come, no.
But again, that's a sensible one. If you do the driver, you can sell it as multiples because it's an army builder. It's also one that you should be able to swap the head for a Han Solo.
I'd just stick Chewie in it with his arms in the air.
Yeah, and you're getting a couple of Ewoks now as well. Throw them in there. Yeah, that's a good shout. That's a good shout. I'll give you that one. Let's have a look. Although it would be as big as a horse, but if you've got the space for it, then fantastic.
You could put a lead on it, Mooncat. Take it for a walk.
And the land speeder is great. Do it. So yeah, no excuses not to, mate. Right. So I think that'll cover us on the Black Series, sort of the HasLab side of things. Next up, this is something I'm going to throw over to you, Paul. You wanted to add this in, so let me just play this for everybody today. That one there.
'Twas the night before Life Day, in a galaxy far, far away.
Looking good. Tree, food, decorations.
Coming together heroes were to celebrate the day.
Please be a cape. Please be a cape.
That's a wrap! For Rey, adventure called, and she thought it would be fast.
Wow.
But there she found a key to the galaxy's past.
Sorry. Oh, Master Luke,
What are you doing?
this is so cool. We've seen my master. My master's master.
Concentrate.
My master's father.
Impressive.
My master's father's master.
Emperor Palpatine? I don't believe it.
You think maybe you could put a shirt on?
It's a key.
Ooh, gimme! Galaxy's best emperor.
You thinking what I'm thinking?
Music.
A time of joy. This is
Hooray!
a friendship, a family.
Who are you guys?
Master Skywalker.
My son. I mean, these binary sons.
Junta solos?
You want to shoot first?
After you.
So
What
yes,
is there not to like, eh? That looks amazing.
so younger viewers may not remember the Star Wars Holiday Special from 1978. It was released, was it Thanksgiving, to try and sort of bridge the gap between Star Wars: A New Hope being, well, still in cinemas really, and The Empire Strikes Back being a few years away. It truly is something to watch. Yeah. So anyway, Lego are doing a updated version, a slightly different version, but with the Lego humor. What's your thoughts on this one? What are you looking for this?
Yeah, I mean, this is a totally different idea, isn't it? I mean, the original holiday special was like a variety show, in inverted commas. There were a couple of decent parts to that show. There was one decent part to that show.
There we go. Yes,
the Boba Fett cartoon, the first appearance of Boba Fett in an animated series, in an animated short, which was pretty good. And if you've seen that, then yeah, that's the best bit. The rest of it, there was cookery, there were supposed laughs, but it wasn't very funny at all. Now this actually appeals to me, this Lego one, because when my son was very young, the first sort of thing that he got into was Galactic Heroes, playing with those figures. But then he also got into the Star Wars Lego games on the I think it was on the PlayStation we were playing it on, and he absolutely loved the Star Wars Lego game. So to me, the way the style of this, it just brings back really, really nice memories of when he was a little lad, like, you know. And it looks like it's got some decent humour to it as well.
yeah.
You know, it just looks like it should be a bit of a giggle. I think there'll be plenty of in jokes there for us. Thank you, Mr. Keeler. Yeah, but
not everyone shares our feelings on it, obviously. But
that is a really good point, actually. The Mandalorian, Boba Fett that appeared in that holiday special those years ago, is basically the Mandalorian armor that you see now. It's more of that color hue than the actual Boba Fett that we ended up getting, and he's got the same weapon. He's got that little forked bit on the end of the elongated rifle. So there was obvious callback to that when Filoni was thinking about what to do with the Mandalorian. But no, I think the Lego holiday special, it's the next big thing that we're going to get in terms of Star Wars, other than the next episode of Mandalorian. But it does look like it's going to be great, Mooncat. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. It's the Lego Star Wars games is something that is one of the early things, one of the first games that I played on a computer with my kid, my eldest one, who's
hours and hours and hours.
who's turning 13 next month. Which is scary, but So no, I'm quite looking forward to seeing what they do with it, and they've got good sense of humour with it.
Yeah, I mean, neither you or I are particularly collectors of Star Wars Lego. I've got a few pieces, but nothing significant. But there's a hell of a market out there for the Star Wars Lego. So it's got its following. If they brought out a stop motion VC special, you'd be all over that, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. There's been a couple of adverts that have dropped where I think they've used the Vintage Collection Imperial Assault tank that rolls in, and it's firing against Han and Chewie, who are trying to return fire, and then Luke comes in and lightsabers away at them. And it's all done with stop motion, really well put together. So yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I think it'd be good fun. Definitely a watch for that one. Yeah,
that's a very good shout. That's a very good shout. I think we are now going to move on to the Chapter 11 discussion for The Mandalorian. Now, I will say at this point, if you have not seen Chapter 11, you may wish to go away, come back later once you have seen it, because we are going to be talking full detail, full spoilers ahead. You are warned. I don't want anybody shouting at me after this saying I didn't warn you. This is your final warning. Okay, right. So
Everton 1, Liverpool 3.
That's the way. I take it you have seen it now.
3 times.
3 times. 3 times. Okay. You've done your homework then for this episode. Well done. You passed the test. That's good. Yeah. So thank you very much, Seamoles. Have a good one. See you soon. See you, Claire. Have a good one. I say you. Yeah, come back later. And welcome along to Daniel Chart. I can see you dropping into the chat there as well. So yeah, absolutely brilliant episode today. I really enjoyed it. Just a quick sort of pitch so far. Obviously, we've had three episodes of season 2. Where does this rank for you?
Okay, well, I thought the season opener was amazing, just superb. I really enjoyed last week's, to be honest. Chapter 10. But this is where things start. Those 2 episodes were great in their own right, but this looks like this is where the story's starting to actually go in a certain direction. You know, are we going to skip right to the end here? Or are we going to go? Are we running through it from the start, or are we just picking on bits as we're going?
Let's try and go through chronologically if we can.
So chronologically, so you've got the beat-up version of the Razor Crest, which had already been right through the mangle in Chapter 10. When he dropped it almost onto that platform and it plunged into the waters of Trask. That was, which is great because you know, similar to how the character was in season 1. He is fallible. There's things that he does, there's judgment calls that he makes that aren't always spot on, which is great. But yeah, when they hoisted it out with another variant of the AT-AT, that was brilliant.
I think for me it's almost that Indiana Jones sort of character where he's not quite as perfect as he needs to be for everything, but other times he's on the mark. So yeah, there's a hint of that to it. No, I absolutely loved it when he's coming in full throttle and he's eventually hits the brakes and it's like, okay, yeah. And I think everybody probably knew that the engines were going to fail. What I wasn't expecting was and it crumbles off the side. And I was like, well done. Well done, you got me there.
That's where these guys have got the humour element right, as opposed to what we had in the sequel trilogy. There's nothing forced in this, no pun intended. But you know, it just feels natural. When there are sort of like silly little comments, like you know, when the Mandalorian has a pop at the child, saying, you know, don't go eating any more of that spawn, in his various ways of telling him, you know, it doesn't feel as though it's been forced into the story. It's it's natural. The sequel trilogy was very guilty of forced humour that just didn't land. Talking of not landing, so the Razor Crest lands, falls into the waters, gets taken out. The first thing that I thought was, all you folks that have backed the Razor Crest, what sorts? Are you expecting it to be delivered by Hermes or something? No, that's just a joke.
Oh, scathing, scathing. I did actually have a chat with somebody about that, and I'm just grateful it's still alive, as it were. It's
I did
yeah.
think in chapter 10, I thought, are they going to write this ship off now? They've sold all thousands and thousands, and now it's gone.
Well, that was it. That was the worry. But no, I think this is the reason that people have bought multiple Razor Crests, so that you've got one that looks like season one that looks like it does after the Mount Cal have got it. Season 3, something different will happen. So if this show goes for 10 seasons, you're going to need 10 different Razor Crests. So I hope you stocked up previously. And good luck displaying them all on the shelf as well. But yeah. So I thought we're also probably going to need a seaweed accessory. Like we got the Dagobah swamp sort of stuff. Throw that on the side. It was.
I thought the way that they sort of they landed. Obviously, the Mr. and Mrs. Frog got together and everything was happy there. So that finished that little story off. And then off he went to sea to go and find others of his kind. But prior to that, obviously, there was the scene where the child was eating chowder and the chowder attacked him. That was quite nice. But I thought the way that the Quarren tried to sort of distract the Mandalorian and capture him by pushing the child over the jaws of whatever monster that was unexpected, and again that showed the vulnerability of the Mandalorian there, perhaps trusting somebody a bit too soon. And then for the Mandos to come in and sort everything out, that was great.
Great appearance when Bo-Katan just lands. Really, really, really good introduction.
And how perfect was she? She was absolutely spot on in that show. I mean, obviously she voiced the character anyway, but stylized. It just. If she hadn't have been the voice actor and she'd been cast in the role, you'd said, "Oh, that's brilliant." The fact that somebody had the foresight to use her as the voice actor all those years ago is like time travel to me. somebody has been and thought, right, we're going to be doing this Mandalorian one day. Let's go back to the past and we're going to cast Katie Sackhoff in this role. Blah blah blah. But no, absolutely superb. I don't know what you thought, because it was a relatively short episode. It was. I think it rocked in at 35 minutes, but that included the titles. So really, there was probably only just over 30 minutes of actual screen time. They crammed a hell of a lot in.
Well, they did, and it's something that I found with the first season, because of the way that they structured it, and it never felt rushed, but it never felt like it dragged either. It was a case of, here's the story, we're just going to tell the whole thing. It takes as long as it takes. And if you only need half an hour to tell that story, that's all you need.
No, you're right.
If you need an hour.
Yeah, that's the beauty when you're making something for a streaming service, though, isn't it? You've not got to stick to a prescribed time and allow for adverts. You can do what you want. So you haven't got the constraints of editing it down or up to whatever length it should be. But yeah, I mean, the season opener was almost an hour.
Yeah,
that flew by. This one. When it ended and it said that it was just over half an hour's worth of material, I thought, no way, that's it. That was so much now. It felt longer in a way.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was great. I mean, the actual the arrival of the Mandos, and then the explanation of why they see it acceptable to remove the helmet. I thought that was dealt with properly without being too fan servicey.
Yes, I think it was. I was speaking to mate of ours, James, earlier, and he was saying about how it was really interesting that they posed the Mandalorian sect that Mando is from as fanatical.
Yeah,
and it was but very different sort of. We're gonna go out there and say this. This is a different way of looking at things.
Yeah,
and just because this is the way,
even Din Djarin didn't even know what the watch was. He went, the watch, so he didn't even know what he'd come from, in a sense. So again, different point of view. Just because that's how they referred to them isn't necessarily, they may not have even existed in real terms. They're just a moniker for that type of Mandalorian. But yeah, I thought it translated really well from the animated version of the character to the live version. And then
of course,
go on.
I was going to say you've got the storming of the ship, like the pirates and what have you.
I just
really
say
well put together sequence.
Really enjoyable, and the actual the portrayal of the Imperial officers was really interesting as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. I never had them pegged as the sort of because obviously you get that moment where he gets the instruction from Moff Gideon, you know what you have to do.
Yeah.
And he just goes ahead and does it. I mean, I thought it was a case of he was going to have all right, lads, we know what's going on here. But straight in, bang, bang, gone.
Yeah. I mean,
wow.
Moff Gideon is as bad as a bad guy as any that have appeared in the Star Wars saga beforehand, and we've not really seen a lot of him yet. But to be able to influence somebody to not only kill his subordinates, but then also effectively bite down on the cyanide capsule when he's intimidated, because that's essentially what that was, wasn't it? It was that kind of thing. Pretty unexpected, but I suppose the Empire is in turmoil. It's 6 years after Return of the Jedi, and things are a bit different now. But it's good. It's always good to see those traditional uniforms, the olive and the black Imperial officers.
The variety between.
Yeah, really, really cool. What we got here from Daniel.
I was going to say, Dan's agreeing with what you were saying earlier about the humour between the Mandalorian and the sequel trilogy. Completely different styles to it. So yeah, absolutely spot on with that. And I think it was a really well put together sequence at the end as well. The only bit I thought was a tad odd was when Mando decides to rush the corridor on his own and throws his things down the corridor. I thought maybe that's a little bit, but at the same time, he's the hero. He's got to do heroic things, so it gets a pass. It gets a pass. I can see Martin is a big fan of the Moff.
The MVP.
Yeah. Can't think of anything to work in with that, but we'll leave it. But just working in some of the non-story elements, I thought the creature effects were fantastic. When they were, like you were saying, when they were eating the chowder and what have you, and you've got that the alien that sucks onto his face again, referencing aliens films and what have you. But also the Mon Calamari. I don't know if we've seen it before, but his eyes inside the sockets properly swiveled round, so you could see where he was looking.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've seen that with like Admiral Raddus or Akbar in the other ones. I hadn't noticed it, but I really noticed it in this one.
Yeah, I think they've probably been able to improve the motion of the eyes, haven't they? Yeah, so that was good. What I did laugh about and made me chuckle was the guy that was fixing the ship, the Mon Calamari that was fixing the ship. The jumper that he got on looked like one I had from George Asda in 1987.
Nice little knitted number that your nan had given you.
Yeah, all those, really cool. Cable knit. $10.99, I think it was, Chris.
I liked that element to it as well. And again, there was that one moment where the Quarren are surrounding the Mando to say, right, you killed my brother, I'm going to kill your pet now. And they've got those big overcoats. And I was thinking, is that really taking it out? But then I kind of went, well, actually, no, because you've seen those overcoats on Imperial officers before. Slight variations of them, obviously, but it still reads as Star Wars. So again, it was a case of, no, I can justify that. That's fine. Straight away.
I'll tell you what it made me think of. There's a good friend of mine who runs a Star Wars and I don't know, sci-fi and collectibles store down south with all the cool stuff. And a while back, he put together these little costume accessories that you can put on your old figures. If you go and look on his website at some time, he's got these survival packs where you've got like a cloak that you can put on any figure. So they've obviously tuned into Dave and thought, yeah, we'll do that. We'll stick that in the Mandalorian. Like the survival kits back in the day. Remember those?
Yes. Oh, yeah. And they'd always, the little tab at the bottom would always snap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. I think because it was essentially set around like a harbour, like a fishing village. So you've got like the cable knit jumpers, like I commented on, and then you've got these long sort of, I suppose, waterproof coats and things. They were like a cross between fishermen and pirates, weren't they?
Yes.
So but I mean, it was interesting to see the Mon Calamari and the Quarren together in that scenario, because I'd always just thought of them as being on Mon Cal, the actual planet, whereas this was a different planet, wasn't it? This is Trask.
Yeah, that's my understanding of it.
Yeah. So it was almost like, oh, okay. So do these species always coexist? I don't know.
Well, possibly. Again, some of the old EU and some of the Clone Wars, obviously, as well. The Quarren and the Mon Cala didn't get on with each other, fighting quite a lot. So it is a bit of a surprise to see them on another planet, still just in the same area. You'd kind of think if you hate each other that much as different races, you'd probably go your separate ways. But maybe I'm blowing over what's how big that is.
I suppose time has passed and perhaps things have happened in the background that we've not heard yet. So all good.
But yeah, no, I think it's again just something that James picked up on there. Feeling pretty low on Star Wars after the sequel trilogy, but he's absolutely right. Mando and Clone Wars have really just raised fandom, not just us, fandom as a whole has been really lifted by The Mandalorian. So it's great to see that this season is going somewhere. I really, really am enjoying where it's going. I did want to say, actually, interesting to see what they're doing with the child character, because obviously in the first season, everyone's just like, oh, he's so cute. Look at him. He's the cutest thing ever.
Now he's a little tinker. He's all right, devil.
I think I used slightly stronger words than that when I saw the episode last week.
He's a little
yeah, he is. He is, but I had genuine concern throughout the episode today.
Yeah.
Anytime he went anywhere near those eggs, like when the frog lady's being asked to hold on to the control, pull the control back for me.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, oh my god, he's there. He's going to be out the back. He's going to be nicking the eggs. What are you doing? Don't turn your back on him. And again, when like you say, when the Mando drops him off with the frog family, and behave yourself, mind your manners. You know what I mean? I'm like,
there's a nice little throwaway moment, and then of course when we see him playing with the one in the little dish with a bit of water, and you're thinking, "No, my God, no! Don't do it! Don't do it!" But I think that was really good. But I mean, the other thing as well is once we go into presumably the next episode, unless we get another diversion episode like episode 10 was, chapter 10 was, then we should be meeting up with Ahsoka Tano next episode, and that really will be the point where we might say goodbye to the child. Potentially.
I think that's something obviously Daniel's touching on there, with confirmation of Bo-Katan and Ahsoka now in the mix for this season. What do you guys think? Do you think we've seen the last of Boba Fett in the show? I hope so, because he feels he's unnecessary. Sorry, I forgot to stick the on-air sign outside the door with. Sorry about that. But no, I think that's a very good question. Do you think that we've seen the end of Boba Fett for this series?
I mean, it's a good point, Daniel. I quite like the way they teased it at the end of chapter 9. Has that been confirmed as being Boba Fett?
No, not officially.
No,
not officially. It's one of those that everyone's reading into it, and it's like, well, it's got to be.
Yeah,
but it's not been confirmed.
I mean, it would make sense that it was. We're on Tatooine. We've got a scarred Tamura Morrison, reflecting the fact that Boba Fett was in the Sarlacc pit and no doubt picked up some scars while in there, and that he wasn't wearing Boba Fett's armor, but he obviously was keeping an eye on Mando as he sped past on his speeder bike. I'd like to think it was him, and I would like to think that we would see him again, if only just to sort of flesh it out and confirm it for the more casual viewers. For the likes of us, I agree with Daniel to some extent. We don't really need to see any more of Fett in it. But I think perhaps for the casual viewer, if they are then going to spin off to do a Boba Fett series, which I think's been mooted, then it would be better to sort of just give that a little bit more of a bit of a feature in the show, just to link the two together. For the diehard, like us, it wouldn't matter if we didn't see him again until that show was released. But
I think there will be, like you say, more of a nudge to say, right, well, there's your Fett show. This is the character. So you lot who all thought he died in Jedi, he clearly didn't. Because I mean, there are some people that will have seen 4, 5, and 6 and not seen the prequels. There'll be people out there that haven't seen anything, and this is it. There'll be people watching it going, well, who the heck's that guy at the end of the series? And it won't be enough for them to join the dots to know that he was Boba for a Boba spin-off series. So I suspect we will see more of Boba Fett at some point in this season. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Ahsoka and Bo-Katan. You are getting already a bit of a feel of he's building his team up again for a big scene at the end of the series. You've got Cobb Vanth from the first episode. I'd say you've got the Frog Lady and her partner in the second one. I can't really see them coming back in a big battle at the end, but you never know.
There was a little bit of an error, wasn't there, in this chapter, which Mr. Keeler alluded to slightly, which is the fact that all of a sudden Mando and the Frog Lady seem to be able to understand each other, whereas there was a big thing made about them not being able to understand and communicate other than through Mr. Iodi's protocol droid that was used as a voice coder.
Well, I thought she could understand basic, but I didn't think he could understand her.
Oh, is that right?
I might be wrong, but that was my understanding of the last one.
You might be right, but I thought perhaps they didn't understand each other at all. But anyway, it was still fine. It was fine. I think that there's a number of ways that they could go with new series just off of today's. I'd like to see Bo-Katan and effectively Siege 2 on Mandalore, return to the throne kind of thing. There's obviously the Darksaber was mentioned again. Obviously, she is more than likely going to come up against Gideon at some point to get that back, or to attempt to get that back. We wouldn't really want to see either of those characters die at this stage, because I think they've both got a lot more to give at this stage. So how they deal with that will be interesting. So you could automatically, for me, spin off into either a movie or a TV series with the Mandalorians featuring Bo-Katan. Boba Fett, like I say, there's been stories that there's going to be some sort of a series based around him. Great. I would love that. And Ahsoka. Ahsoka could, if theoretically, inherit the child. And that could be the way that we keep the child alive in the saga and let Mando move on his way and go on other adventures that we still see, but without the child being a bit of in some way, a little bit of a burden, which is why every now and then you have to drop him off with like the fish people, the frog people or somebody else,
and I think it's something that Tim's saying there. Hope Ahsoka's only in it for one episode, and that's it. We've only got, is it eight episodes this season?
Yeah, same as last season.
So it's not as if we've got loads of time to meet all these different people and still get to the end and have everything really overplayed. Again, I think as soon as you introduce Ahsoka to the story, you're in danger of her becoming the most OP character there. It's much like what's her name, Captain Marvel. Thank you. In the Avengers movie, they had to send her off to go and save some other worlds because she's just so OP, overpowered, that if you leave her there, it's not really a movie. It's quite an easy one. So we'll see. We can see what happens with that as it goes along.
I mean, I don't know about you, but as much as I really like Cara Dune and Grief Karga, not seeing them yet hasn't really affected the season at all.
No, not at all.
I mean, it will be great to see them again, but you know, you're not sort of going, "Oh, where are they? Where are they?" You know, because it's been so good already that I'm not saying that they've not been missed, but it just goes to show that you can drop significant characters out of it for a while and bring them back in. I mean, Moff Gideon's only just made a holographic appearance. That's all we've had, isn't it?
Well, it is that case, but it's also, if you look at it from a point of view of, you look at the foils for the Mandalorian, and the first one, it's a crate dragon, and it's great. It was brilliant. It was fantastic. In the second one, it's the giant spiders and the ice and all that sort of stuff. And it worked. It's a good foil to the character. It's you like you say, you're not missing the big baddies. You can deal with these small ones. Even the Imperials in this episode, the guy who's the captain of the ship, he's perfectly implacable throughout the entire thing. It's just calm, collected. You get the feeling that he's one of the few Imperial officers that actually is competent. And has survived this long in the Empire because he is one of the more competent ones, even if he is just on a driving mission. That's possibly, as it were, that's possibly all there is these days.
I think he's been in a few boardroom meetings with Moff Gideon. Probably had a couple of custard creams and a coffee, hasn't he? You know, he's he's up there. So he'll be missed by by Moff Gideon. He'll probably be pretty annoyed by that. But yeah, it'll be nice to see Ahsoka. I just hope that they do Ahsoka justice. I would imagine there's going to be a lot of people out there whose first introduction to Star Wars was either the Clone Wars or Rebels, and they will probably. For me, Ahsoka, great character, but not the be all and end all to me. So you know, whatever they decide to do with that character, I'm easy with that. That's fine. But there are going to be people out there that it means so much to, that if they don't get it right, you know, there's going to be hell to pay. I can't see the two big boys getting it wrong. They everything they touch at the moment turns to gold, doesn't it? They really have got the Midas touch for Star Wars.
Absolutely.
I just wish they'd been around for the sequel trilogy. I really do.
Yeah. It's I think you're absolutely right. With the people you've got in charge, they're people that know Star Wars inside and out, clearly care about Star Wars, and are well. One of them's actually learnt at the feet of George Lucas, so it was passed on down the line. We're going to get some good stuff. I'm not worried about what they're going to do with Ahsoka, but she has become probably the first non-original trilogy character to properly break into that top tier, I would say.
Major fandom. Yeah. She has got a huge following of dedicated Ahsoka fans, hasn't she? We've witnessed this at Celebration and all sorts of different conventions we've been to. And certainly amongst Fantha Tracks, there's people that we come into contact with that are diehards for Ahsoka. So yeah, I just hope that they do get it right. I'm sure they will. Yeah,
I mean, and in no small part that's down to Ashley Eckstein's portrayal of Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So Rosario Dawson has got a lot to live up to.
Yeah. We didn't have that problem with Tom.
Easier switch.
Lovely.
But yeah, we'll see what happens with that anyway. I think we are going to start to wrap things up a little bit here. We've been going for an hour and 20. I said we'll probably keep you an hour, so a little bit longer than that. My bad. But I did want to say, obviously, the episode that we've just had, we've got some new characters in there. Who of those characters do you want to see in action figure form? And that goes open to the people in the chat as well. Who are your top characters from this episode? I'm not going to say the entire series so far. This episode, who do you want to see in action figure form? Because that's what we're here to talk about with toys. What do you want to see?
Yeah, I'd obviously like to see Bo-Katan, obviously. And did it ever come out who the other two were that were with her?
I'm not sure who Sasha Banks's character was. I haven't done the digging on that one. Again, if someone in the chat knows that, please chime in.
Yeah, but certainly Bo-Katan. I would like to see some Imperial officers thrown in as well. TVC, Black Series. Yeah. But yeah, it would be nice to see some Imperial officers thrown in at some point. But before we get there, obviously we've got Moff Gideon coming at some point in the future, which would be great. Maybe
he's already been announced for TVC, and I think we know he's on the way for Black Series, don't we?
We do.
Yeah.
boxes. But also, it might be quite fun to release the frog husband and wife with the backpack with the little balls in, with the spawn in it,
with a little LED light in the little tube.
Have little Yoda. Sorry, didn't mean that. Have the child munching on one of the spawn. There
we go. That's the one, Daniel. I completely agree. Yeah. Nice 3-pack special action figure set. That'd be lovely. But no, I did see on Instagram there's a chap who's doing the he does like 5 POA custom figures, all digital sculpts, and he's already created a frog, lady frog character, with her little jar that goes with him, and I think they did a mock-up on a vintage style retro card. So, I think that's a great shout. I'd love to see that.
I think that thing there that Daniel's just put up about Dank Farrick, isn't that some sort of replacement for swear words that they use in the Mandalorian? Don't they go, oh, Dank Farrick? I don't know whether that was actually that character or whether that's just some sort of term of annoyance. I don't know.
That's how I read it, as a term of annoyance, but Daniel might be right on that one as well. That would fit in quite nicely next to your Zuvio collection, I'm sure.
I'm just going to get myself a Mon Calamari mask and get my old Asda jumper out, and that's what I'm cosplaying as next.
and some old style Wellington boots. Yeah,
that's it. I'll get the Jimmy Cricket ones out with left and right written on them. That'd be great.
That's it. And Daniel would also like a Quarren fisherman as well. They're the sort of background characters we would have got 10, 15 years ago without flinching.
Just don't
these
get
days.
that.
No, sadly not.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think we're probably going to start wrapping it up there, Paul.
Okay.
I would like to say a massive thank you to your good self for joining me today. Now, where can people find you?
Well, Fantha Tracks, it's available obviously as a website. We've got Facebook, Twitter. We're everywhere. Any form of social media we're involved with. Now, the big thing that we've got that's just sort of released in the last week or so is a streaming TV show that goes out on a Sunday evening in the UK, which is Good Morning Tatooine, which goes out in the evening in this country. But it's our friends over in other territories. It will be the morning for.
Morning somewhere.
Yeah, it's always morning under the twin suns somewhere, and that's a very interactive show, similar to what you've got here. So by all means, tune into that and catch up on that one. But yeah, you can follow Fantha Tracks all over the place. Just go online, you'll find us in one form or another. The website is updated throughout the day, as you saw earlier, Chris, where we've got the all the releases from today's event. Massive following, international. We've got people dotted in countries all over the world. We've got an Australian correspondent. We've got loads of people in America. We've got people in Mexico, Spain. Oh, you name it. We've got Fanthas everywhere. And it's a brilliant organisation to be part of.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, obviously, I'll leave a link to Fantha Tracks down in the description below for anyone who's joining the live stream later. And also, obviously, there's the YouTube channel. There'll be the link in there as well. Right. Anybody that's still on the channel, if you haven't subscribed already, please do so you get the updates whenever we drop a video. We will be trying to do more live streams. I have enjoyed this. I hope you have too. In fact, on that note, sort of, what do you want to see from live streams going forward for us? Is anything like that? Drop that in the comments. Put it in the comments section on the side there. Let us know. Keen to do that. I will also say, do head over to our Facebook page. That's where we post any of the high resolution images that you see from the Hasbro presentations. The ones from today will be going up live on there very shortly. And so go over there, give that page a like, and you'll see us over there as well. So I think with that, I'm going to say thank you very much to everybody who's tuned in this evening, tonight, this morning, wherever you are. Thank you very much, Paul from Fantha Tracks. Good to chat to you today. And with that, I shall say goodbye to everybody. And have a good evening.
See ya.